Welcome back, folks. Thank you for joining us today. I'm going to get into Barack Obama later. You know, not what color he is or how his suits hang on his body or how they choreograph his victory speech back on Tuesday night and had really fancy Hollywood boom cameras zooming over the crowd that thought that Jesus Christ had landed. It's that Barack Obama is announcing the exact same agendas of George W. Bush, which was the exact same agendas of Bill Clinton, which was the exact same agendas of George Herbert Walker Bush. You have to go back that far before you find a president who actually did a few things different, like get us out of the United Nations UNESCO program or engage in détente. I'm not even saying Reagan was good. My point is that you can't eat, I mean, a total New World Order since then, and a lot of New World Order presidents before that. And it's real simple. The multinational corporations own both parties. They put out different PR spin for the public, different flavors of the same junk. But see, George Bush, after almost 8 years, 7 3/4 years, couldn't carry the New World Order ball down the field. National drafts, police state, surveillance, wars, taxation, regulation, control, gun control, disarming the slaves. Barack Obama can. And he is. And the guy, finally, I mean, only 4 or 5 days. I say finally, but that's quite a while. People should have seen it earlier. A lot of even liberal groups are going, wait a minute, now he's saying we're going to stay in Iraq. Now he says we're going into Pakistan. Now he says we're going to keep spying on the American people without warrants. Well, wait. Now he's saying all down the line being deceptive. And, of course, he was the biggest cheerleader, more than John McCain, for the banker takeover bill, the heist, the robbery. Didn't matter if 98% of you didn't want it. Didn't matter if they were getting 1,000 to 1 phone calls in Congress against it. Both parties were for it because they don't work for us. They work for offshore corporations. All right, let's go ahead and go to your phone calls. Let's go to Juan in New Hampshire first. Juan, you're on the air. Welcome.
Yeah, Alex, how you doing?
Good.
I wanted to ask you about a problem I'm having. About 6 years ago, when I went to enroll my son in the public school system in New Hampshire, they adamantly told me they wouldn't take him because he didn't have the shots.
Yeah, they're liars. They're criminal liars who lie and say it's the law when it's not, because we have a bankrupt criminal government.
Exactly. Now,
the government exists to steal tax money and give it to private banks. That's it.
That's right. Now, 4 years go by, and all of a sudden we get the truant officer at our house 2 years ago. Now, my wife listens to you, and she wouldn't open the door. So he came back with the Department of Child and Family Services and everything like that.
And let me guess, they didn't have a warrant either.
That's right.
By a judge. They just make it up because they're dirtbag criminals. See, right. They're violating the Fourth Amendment. They're violating everything, and they do it. First they lie and say you got to take shots. Then they trigger, because your child's not in a government brainwashing camp, you're obviously homeschooling, which is your right. California says it's illegal. Right. Then they come without a warrant and violate the Fourth Amendment, all part of the vicious dirtbag criminalness. But we're supposed to fall down and lick their boots and go, oh, because you got a uniform, go ahead and destroy America. I love you. Okay, so what happened next?
All right, that was 2 years ago. Now, I call him. And
what did the Department of Child Kidnapping Services do when they showed up at your house?
Pardon?
What did the child kidnappers do when they showed up at your house?
Oh, they were with him, and they were just like spying. And
if your wife wouldn't have been informed, she'd have let him in. One dog hair, one dirty plate. Never seen your child again.
That's right.
Be off in some Malaysian rape camp.
Then I called him, and I said, I want to see you, John. I said, I want to see you. And he says, okay. He says, how about meeting me at Dunkin' Donuts? So I went down to Dunkin' Donuts, and I got in the car with him, and we talked for an hour. And I told him the whole 9 yards. I said, John, I said, you broke my son's civil rights. I said, the school system broke our civil rights. I said, you wouldn't accept him because you said it was the law to be vaccinated. It's not. And so we got and I was telling him about you and telling him about,
and he said I was probably evil.
Yeah. And so he hands me these papers for homeschooling, right? So after an hour, I get back to the house after talking to him. I look at them, the policy papers. Okay? That all came from you, so I spot him. So I give him a call and I leave him a message. He doesn't bother us for 2 years.
He's back.
Now, last Wednesday, the day after the election, he appears at the house again. My wife doesn't let him.
Color of law, illegally, has no reason to be there, but that you are a fat hog. You're a fat slave to them. They want some bacon. They're hungry.
Okay.
They've got quotas. They've got children to kidnap.
Now, when I called him, I said, John, you were at the house today. He was surprised because we got people that watch, and my wife watches too. He said, no, I got a phone call. That he said the DCFS called me that there's a child there. I said that hasn't been in school and all.
And that's, again, the tattletale neighbors think it's illegal to not be in a vaccination death camp where you learn how to be a prisoner and thumbprint to get school lunches and learn how to be obsessed and feel bad about yourself and learn how to take Ritalin and Prozac and learn how to snort cocaine. So you don't want to put your child in a death camp, and so a scumbag filth neighbor, part of the filth of America, called him.
Hello?
Yes, sir. So where are you now with the scum?
Okay, when I called him last Wednesday, I said, John, I said, the papers you gave me were policy papers. And he goes, yeah, I know. And then I goes, policy is not the law, John.
That's right, scum filth. No, they want to get in your house to find something to hit you and hit you hard because the Saudis need more children.
Okay. So then he says, well, I said, John, you gave me the policy papers. I said, that's not right at all. I said, I tried to call Crocker, which is the capital.
So he's all color of law line because he's a hardcore crook. What happened? Now, that's criminal. It's criminal when they do this. It's criminal when Denver cops attack other cops to put news cameras on it and make protests look bad. But they've got a job to ban free speech. They've got a job to demonize demonstration. They got a job to take America down. They got a job, and they're doing it good. So what else happened?
So he was going to call me back the next day. He never did. So then I called him Friday twice. He never returned the phone.
You better watch yourself. And if I was you, I would go ahead and move, and then I would register your house in some corporation's name. I'd set up your own little corporation. That's totally legal. And because the little black ops operation is mad that your child's not in a fluoride facility where they give them the fluoride water and give them the fluoride pills to eat to brain damage them and the injections and to be just like the rest of the zombie scum.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and he said to me, DCFS is going to take you to court, is what he said. The Department of Child and Family Services.
Yeah, the scum is coming. They're saying, parents, you don't. The California State Court said, parents, you aren't the parents. It says the state owns your children.
Right.
And we're going to carry eugenics out against you. CPS was set up 100 years ago by the British to carry out eugenics operations. Mm-hmm. And listen, it's all terrorism. You would have already had your child kidnapped. You just never let them in. Just don't ever let them. Just stay calm with them. Remember that they're pieces of filth. And just call me on the air if you have any other problems, okay?
All right, I appreciate it, Al.
You don't worry about those hardcore criminals, okay? They're scum. They're filth. And we're going to rise up against them and defeat them. Stay with me. There's too much confusion. I can't